side. Okay, so I always start with the ball first. Just gotta roll them all into a ball. I don't want them to be dry. It's hard to shape dry cake because then it won't. I can't see if you guys are talking, by the way. My husband's phone's not working well. So I just start with a crease. So this isn't going to look pretty when you first start, but just get the general shape and then you can shape it up later. So this is going to be the controller part, and you hold it and you play in like this. And then the Xbox controller has a little crease here too, which makes it hard to put on a cake pop stick. Again, it's not going to look perfect in the beginning, but you just need to get the shape going, and then you can shape it better later. The hardest part is making sure that the sides are even and not one of the handles is not larger than the other. Can you guys see this okay? I don't know. I never know if this is a good angle. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm going to overshape this to make sure it looks right. See? This isn't really a difficult shape. And once you get going, you know, you get used to what you're shaping. So I want it to be round and not square and flat, so I'm just kind of patting it to make it round. And I want to make sure that both sides are even, so I'm elongating this side a little bit. And then patting it some more. And I'm going to put some more definition in here. There we go. And if you end up with cracks, I just take my cake pop stick and lightly just kind of roll over, but there are no cracks. So that's because I was kneading it a lot in the beginning. I don't know if you saw that. So that's it. That's my Xbox controller shape. Let me see if I like it. Yeah, that's good. I'll do 2 more, and then I'll dip them. This is just kind of kneading it to get it nice and soft. And then into a circle again. Okay, so just going to start by pressing the center in and then pulling out the handle parts. I'm shaping it upside down. Pulling out the handle. I just want to make sure that I get the same amount of cake on both sides so it's not uneven. So I'm kind of just like pushing some of it back and pulling some more of it down, that kind of thing. Thank you for the hearts. Okay. So I'm going to press here again. It's going to distort the shape some, but that's okay. I'll fix it. To get that little crease. And now I'm just going to kind of like pull out. You're more like kneading out. You don't want to pull because you'll get that crack like I just did. Just kind of, you know, to practice sculpting, you should just get some clay. Let me tell you, since I've started cake popping, I am much better at cranium. Anybody play that game? I really should do more periscopes. I have like almost 3,000 followers, but nobody comes into my scopes. So I'm just going to shape this one. I'm just going to elongate this a little bit. You don't want to, like, now that I have the shape, you're just going to lightly, you know, press and shape it out. You don't want to push too much. Let's see. How's that look? Does this look good? Everybody's so quiet. Let's pull it out a little more. These gloves help because your hands suck the moisture out of the cake, so it's a good idea to wear gloves or use cellophane or something like that. So some Ran Wrap to shape it. Thanks for sharing. Okay, that looks about right. What do you think? Do my sides look even? This one looks a little stumpy. Yeah, I don't periscope much, do I? I get so focused on my orders that I just keep going. I don't think that's it, though. What are you crafting? There you go. Are other people working right now? What are we working on? There we go. That's good. One more to go, and then I'll start dipping them. They look heavy. They're only 1.2 This is only 1.2 ounces. Yes, that's how I am too. They are a little heavier than my normal cake pop. My normal cake pop is 1 ounce. So, and this is 1.2. So it's a little heavier. But you'll see when I go to dip it, what I do to reinforce it. And I wanted to make these a little bit larger than my other cake pops, which it's not even, it's only 0.2 of an ounce. Like, hi Little Miss Cake Pops, heavier, but just so we could get a nice thick handle, and I didn't want to end up with weird shape, so that's actually why I dipped it first too. And I have my fan in the background because, you know, Florida, humidity, not good with candy. So, kind of shaping it like a moon or a boomerang. Okay. Playing with somebody else's food. Okay. Thank you. I never show my face. I'm too busy working. Okay. So now I have that basic shape down. I'm going to go ahead and do the press in the middle, if you've been watching, which distorted my shape, but we'll fix it. Sorry if I repeat myself. People joining, I just keep repeating myself. I'm gonna keep pulling down here like this. It's a good thing I played the Xbox. I used to play a lot more before I started working. Before I started cake popping, I mean. Working's not the right term. Now my free time is answering emails. Anybody else feel that way? I want to hire like an assistant. I feel like all I do is answer emails and do quotes all day long. Okay. Okay, that's a good enough shape. I'm not going to get too picky. I'm going to go ahead and dip these. I'm going to dip let me move this. I'm going to dip the ones I already have off screen here. Right? So I saw this on somebody else's Instagram, and I was like, oh, what a great idea. She used egg containers, like deviled egg containers, for her cake pops. So I went out and bought me a ton of them. I store mine in something else, like a carry cake container. It's like white with a blue handle, but they can roll sometimes when you move them. The deviled egg container worked really well because they're not moving around and touching each other, and I don't like them to touch each other because sometimes I get just a tiny flat spot. And this is how I hold my sticks. I don't know why my husband's phone is not showing me people talking. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to set this back up so I can see what's going on. There we go. Okay, so let's check the warmth. Let's heat this up for a second. I got a microwave over here to my side. So, what's everybody else doing? Let me move this out of the way. These are all my controllers. You can see this is like the first one that I did. And then I was like, wait, I used to play the Xbox. What am I doing? But that shape is not quite right. Close enough, though. So I'm using Merkin's Bright White. I really love this candy. I call it candy, not chocolate, because it's not chocolate. I did an order on Thursday that was $350. And then I was like, that feels like it should be the end of my week. But it was just the beginning. I have orders on Monday this week, too. So, graduation week. Bunch of college graduations, and they're all coming home. So, a lot of weird stuff in the middle of the week. Okay, hold on. Let me get a napkin. Just want to wipe down my edges because I'm going to be tapping my stick and I don't want it to be messy. Okay, so I'm gonna dip a little bit of my stick in the candy. Now this is tricky because right here in the center, you see how thin it is? So we have to only go about halfway or else it's going to poke through. And it's a heavy cake pop. So I'm trying to bring it as close to the top as I can. We're going to take this edge and kind of spread it out a little bit. I'm leaving it thicker towards the center because this is heavier. I'm gonna kind of build a base. I'm building a little base, but I'm thinning out around the edges so I don't have some like crazy like design underneath. And look here, this is created a weak point. Can you see the cracks from where I put the stick? So I'm going to fill that too. I'm going to just put some candy here and kind of flatten it as much as I can so you can't see it after I dip it. And at the same time, this will add some strength to the cake pop. Now, if I'm going to get a crack, the crack is going to happen here and here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just prevent it because it's looking kind of weak. I'm just going to put some candy here. And maybe this is in my head and it doesn't help, but it has helped me. So I'm going to create a little shell there. Prevent. It's kind of like when you guys do your cakes and you put supports in it. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting a support in my cake pop. Got a crack here. You want to fill in any cracks, like big cracks. Because what happens is your candy will seep into them and it'll create a weak point, which will create a crack in it. So, okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second. Move on to the next one. We still hanging out with me? Okay. Usually I feel for the stick, but it's hard to, so, because of the way it's shaped. See, there's a crack here. That's going to be a weak point. That's not from the stick. That was from when I shaped it. I should have rolled it out, but it's too late. Sam, shut that off, please. Yeah. Sorry, is it off camera? Sorry, guys. Look at her. No. Get on her bed. Sorry if you guys are asking me questions and I don't see. Okay. Just a tiny little crack right here. I'm going to fill it in. Just, thank you. There's tiny little spots here. Now you might think that I'm crazy because that wouldn't cause a problem, but because this is going to be the weakest part of the cake pop, I really just want to be safe and create a shell, a little support for it. That looks good. Okay. Well, let's see. Those had no issues. Let's see how this one turns out. Nice and warm. Just going to give it another little stir. Okay. Let's see if it's dry. It's so warm here. Okay, it's dry. Okay, so I'm going to dip it in all the way. Okay, now I'm going to tap it off lightly because this is a heavier cake pop. Can everybody see okay? To the corner. If you do it this way, you're sure to break that weak part right there. You don't want to tap where it's going to create pressure on the weak spot. So I'm going to tap this way lightly and just kind of let it fall off. You have to have good chocolate for this, or at least thin. I called it chocolate. It's going to take a little bit because I'm going really slow. Usually, if you typically watch me, you'll see me bang the mess out of it. But because of how heavy this is, I want to be careful. I have to make sure that I get all of it off, or else I'm going to get some weird drips right here at the ends. So I got to make sure I tap it off just lightly. I'm kind of like there's a line between the chocolate and here. I'm just kind of letting that line pull down some of this excess. If you can see it. If you do it too much, it'll actually create like a little dimple that you can't fill. But I don't know if you guys can see that. Is this a weird angle for it? I've let a little line go there. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over and lightly tap to get rid of that. I'm going to tap a little harder. Okay, now I'm going to take my finger and get that excess chocolate off because I don't like the way it looks. Very gently so you don't touch the sides. There we go. There it is. Woo! Okay. And then here's my little scribbler or tool, whatever you guys call them. I just thought it was cool. Cooler than toothpicks. There's no holes. There's no air bubbles. Woohoo! Okay, here's the next one. These are just vanilla. I don't, I use the egg whites. I don't care about it being white. So it's just vanilla. I use the egg whites. I'm sorry. I use the yolks and I don't cut off the crust. So it's got a yellow tint to it. Lightly tapping. Lightly, because this is a heavy cake pop. This. Hi, Texas. It's my little scribe tool. Is that what it's called? Am I saying it right? I think cookie people use these. And then I had been using one for about a year and a half that I got from Wilton. Like I got it from Joann's or something like that. And then I saw, what is it? Scriberella? I can never remember her name. I really have to know that because people ask. Just to poke my air bubbles and to fix any messed up chocolate. You could use a toothpick, but isn't this much cuter? I mean, look at it. This thing is adorable. Here's a better view of it. And she customizes them. So I love that one. It's a lot of tapping. Because I have to tap it lightly. Woo. Trying to touch the side there. Because I have to tap it lightly, it's a lot of tapping. You can use your toothpick for this part. There we go. I might trim that down later.